Hey, I've got you. There are moments in your day when nothing obvious is happening, and yet your body feels tense. You're teaching or reading an email or just moving between lessons, and there's this sense of being on edge that doesn't quite make sense. It's not tied to one event, it just sits there. You can be in the middle of a lesson that's going reasonably well and still feel slightly on edge. Or you might be sitting in the staff room, reading an email, and notice your body tighten a little before you've even finished reading it. It's subtle, but it's persistent. And over time, it can start to feel like something is wrong with you. You might begin to wonder why you can't just stay calm, or why things seem to affect you more than you expected they would. You might look around at other teachers who seem steady and composed and quietly question whether you're missing something. That's often where the tension deepens, because now it's not just the feeling itself, it's what you think the feeling means. What's important to understand is where that reaction is coming from. Teaching has a rhythm, but it also has a lot of movement inside that rhythm. Things shift quickly. A lesson can change direction in a moment. A conversation can take an unexpected turn. An email can introduce something you weren't prepared for. Your body is constantly adjusting to that. And when your body senses that things are not fully predictable, it doesn't wait for you to consciously analyse the situation. It prepares. You might notice your breathing change slightly, or your shoulders hold a bit more tension than usual. Sometimes it feels like a low level of readiness that doesn't quite switch off. That response is your system trying to keep you ready for whatever might come next. It's doing exactly what it's designed to do. There's another way to look at what's happening. Instead of seeing that tension as a sign that you're not coping, you can start to see it as information about what your system is responding to. If your body is holding tension, it's often because it's trying to anticipate change. It's scanning for what might shift next and preparing you so you're not caught off guard. You might notice this more clearly in moments where nothing has actually happened yet. You could be waiting for a reply or thinking about an upcoming conversation and feel the same low-level tension building. In those moments, your body is reacting to what might happen, not what is happening right now. It starts preparing early before anything has actually taken place. Once you start to see that pattern, something shifts slightly. The feeling is still there, but the way you relate to it begins to change. Instead of questioning yourself, you might begin to notice what your system is doing. That small shift in your thinking creates a bit of space. You're not trying to stop the reaction or push it away. You're simply recognizing it for what it is. And from there, you can gently bring your attention back to what is actually happening in front of you. Right now, you're in this lesson. Right now, you're having this conversation. Right now, you're reading this email. That doesn't remove unpredictability from the job, but it reduces how much of it your system is trying to manage all at once. Over time, another adjustment becomes possible. You can begin to introduce small points of consistency into your day. Not large changes, just simple patterns that repeat. Simple routines. It might be the way you start a lesson or how you finish the day. It might be how you handle certain types of interactions or when you respond to emails. Those small, repeated actions give your system something steady to recognise. When something repeats in the same way, your system doesn't have to keep scanning in those moments. The overall level of tension begins to soften slightly. You don't need to control everything. You only need 1 or 2 places in your day where things feel steady. Over time, that steadiness builds. The feeling doesn't disappear, but it doesn't carry the same weight. It becomes something you notice, rather than something you question. And that shift matters, because much of the pressure comes from how the feeling is interpreted. When that interpretation changes, the experience changes with it. You're still working in the same environment, you're still responding to the same kinds of situations, but internally, there's a bit more space around it. You're not trying to force calm. You're understanding what your system is doing while you're working. And when that understanding settles in, things tend to feel more manageable in a quiet, steady way. So, if that tension has been sitting there for a while and you've started to question yourself because of it, it's worth pausing on that. What you're feeling isn't a reflection of your capability. It's your system responding to the constant need to adjust and stay ready. You're still reading the room. You're still responding to your students. You're still doing the work in front of you. That hasn't changed. What has shifted is the amount of energy your system is using to keep up. If you haven't already watched the first video in this burnout series about why teachers can feel exhausted even after weekends, I'd really recommend that next, because these patterns connect. And stay with me, because in the next episode of this series, we're tackling what happens when the school day ends, but your brain absolutely refuses to.